Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Friday night, chill stream night. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and tonight we're going to talk about food for thought. That's cigarettes, coffee, and dried Captain Crunch. Best dinner ever. Also, eggs, bacon, and grits. Pretty good, too. Right up there at the top. Anyway, I'm back. I'm able to sit upright. It's a good thing. I'm here. I'm happy. How about yourself? Had a good week. Slow week, but a good week. Bill Bennett says, long time no see, Untethered fam. Yeah, Bill, it feels like forever, don't it? I've only been gone for 2 shows, but it feels like a month. I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad to see you too, buddy. How are you? Amanda says, hi, Bill. Here's your gold star for being first to chat. And hello, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Happy Friday, smiley, smiley. I hope everybody's doing good and had a good week. Hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Not quite so apoplectic. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I hurt my back past weekend, and had to sit a couple out. It's not fun when you can't use your hand or anything else for that matter. Zinc Tunes is here. I don't know who you are, but I like the name and the gusto, but I warn you, you're giving me warnings right off the bat. I'll give you a fair warning. My banhammer is swift, and my vengeance is permanent. So keep that in mind. Patty's here. She says, I'm here with bells on, y'all. Hey, Patty. How are you, sweetie? Nice to see you. John H. says, hello, everybody. I'm talking to you from the hospital tonight. Oh, no. What happened, John? Are you okay? Are you okay, or is this a routine thing? Are you there? Did you pull your back out, too? Not a good thing, buddy. I hope you're doing good. Patty says, hey, Patty. Hi, Amanda. Does Jake sing Amanda to you? Now, what kind of person who sings would not sing a song with his girlfriend's name in it to his girlfriend? That just seems like basic math. Come on now. Amanda says, hi, John, are you okay? And, of course, Patty, he sings it to me all the time, smiley face. Can you dig it? Yes, yes, yes. Patty says, Mr. John, are you going to be okay? And John says, I've got pneumonia, but I'll be okay. I'm strong. I'm on strong meds, but I couldn't miss the show. Well, thank you for being here, John. God bless you, and we're praying for you, and we hope you get out of there quickly. And I hope you get over that pneumonia, because that's some rough stuff. Especially if you're of an advanced age. Pneumonia can be a ticket puncher, and we don't want that. So take care of yourself. Make sure you turn every hour, too. Amanda says, prayers, John. Feel better soon, man. And Patty says, I spent 5 days with that crud last week, but I've overcome it, and they freed me. I didn't know you were in the hospital. I'm sorry, Patty. I'm glad you're better. Amanda says, I'm glad you're better. See? Great minds think alike. Bill Bennett says, get well soon, John. Sean. However you want to go with it. I like it. The sentiment's there. That's all that matters. Anyway, what I did was pulled a tendon in my neck and lower back, and it rendered my guitar hand useless and very, very painful. So I had to doctor that for a little while, but it's getting better. I can actually ball my fist up now. I can't quite play the guitar for any length of time, but I'm getting there. Won't be long. Just goes to show you them augmented chords are dangerous. Don't pull those tricky chords. They'll hurt you. I didn't have any volume to hear you last week. I probably wasn't here last week. Well, I missed Monday and Wednesday. I missed Monday and Wednesday. Amanda says, that's what you get for getting in them funky positions, Jake. Right. April Rain's here. She says, hello, everybody. Good to see you. I have CJ tonight. Yay, much love. All right. Hey, CJ. Hi, April. How are you? And Amanda says, hi, April hon. Bill says, I don't remember how to spell, and most people cannot read my messages. So I'm glad you comprehend what I am babbling. That's all right, Bill. I speak fluent typoese. I've had to learn over the years to figure out what people are saying. That's quite all right. And John H. says, thanks, everybody. Prayers, and love. Get better soon, Jake. Go easy on him, Amanda. At his age. Oh, you young whippersnapper, you. At my age, I'd be lucky to get a smile and a wink. Amanda says, LOL. Well, that ain't no fun, John. That ain't fun. Nope. But yeah, that tendon is quite important. You would be surprised. And my smart, overzealous attitude just makes me want to push when I get in pain, you know? So I'm up there doing my thing, and the pain starts in, and I just push even harder, and that's when you should stop, just so you know. Stop when you feel that ungodly pressure. Don't keep going for another full day. Not a smart move. So I pay the price for that sometimes. Anyway, I got my hot cup of coffee here. That's what tonight's episode is brought to you by, this here nice hot cup of coffee. Don't you want to have a cup of coffee with me and talk about the world? If so, go pour yourself a nice hot cup and sit down and take a load off, kick your shoes off, curl your toes, and let's get talking. If you don't have a cup, though, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic. Also, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box. If you want to show a little bit of love, throw a little bit of ℉𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕠 this way, I appreciate that very much. Also, hit that Cash App, $JakeJohnsonband. Appreciate it. John says, I'm 53, Jake. I know how you feel. Well, I just turned 50, but I feel like I'm 80 sometimes, especially when things start breaking. April says, I'm feeling under the weather, Jake. Or are you feeling under the weather, Jake? Well, I hurt myself, but other than that, I'm doing all right. She says, I'm sorry, and I love you, Amanda. Is it getting any warmer there? No, it's going the other way. It's been like freezing for the entire week. Matter of fact, they're predicting that we'll actually get some snow Wednesday, so we'll see. Not much, probably 3 inches, but still snow. Amanda says, no, it is not, April. We have another storm coming this weekend. Right on. Cold storm. It's just when it gets so cold, it feels like it's storming outside. I've worked every day this week in below freezing temperatures. Or right at freezing temperatures. It's been like between 30 and 34 all week long. So it's cold. April, I don't know what that emoji means. Does that mean you got something stuck in your throat? What does that mean? That's what it looks like to me. April says, geez, wow. I know what that one means. That's a surprised smiley face. Got it. Or one that's offering you the business, if you know what I'm saying. It's a shocked alligator. Got it. Okay. April says, I missed you Wednesday. I did too. I was in bed. I did not want to get up. I apologize. I was there. I was ready to go. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay right where I'm at. It's much needed. I needed recovery time. When you pull a muscle as hard as I pulled mine, it takes a while for it to bounce back. I said pull a muscle or a tendon. I don't know what it was. Something tweaked in my back, and it put me out of business. I didn't go to the doctor and have them tell me what it was. It just assumed something wasn't right. You know, when your hand feels like a truck is sitting on top of it, and it's numb from the elbow down, and everything else hurts, something ain't right. That's my guess. But I was sorry I missed you guys Wednesday. I was really thinking about y'all. April says, Amanda, cherries on the way. Love you along with other surprises. Oh, cool. Sweet. Nice. Lovely. Thank you very much for the jean jacket, by the way. I love it. I never thought I would. I'm not a jean jacket guy, but it works for me for some reason. Put it on and I feel like a whole nother person. I like it. And the hat and all the other cool stuff. Comforter. Lovely. Can you guys hear my computer making that noise? I think it's time to clean it out. Sounds like there's somebody in there with a grinder wheel. Amanda says, awesome. I can't wait, hon. I'll be watching. The last ones were delicious. Good job making them. Anyway, what you guys want to talk about? I'm open to suggestion. I have not watched any news. I have nothing to report other than Biden is taking credit for Trump's ceasefire pressure that he put on Israel. That's funny. Other than that, I don't know anything. Patty says, you're a brand new man, Jake. I saw the light. I was baptized by the fire in my blood and the pain in my eyes. I was born to love again, a brand new man. There should be commas in that sentence. I was born to love again, period. Brand new man. April says, Patty is right. Hearts and prayers. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will play a little bit for you guys if you want me to, but I can't play much because I can't do it very long. I am still recovering from the truck that was sitting on my hand last week. April says, you're welcome, Amanda Love. Smiley, or that's not a smiley face, that's a heart. Amanda says, he's a spoiled man. Well, if you're going to spoil me, I'm not going to say no. You can't blame me for that. Patty says, probably. I'm not. I work hard for my spoiling. I probably get treated better than most men do, but I work hard for it. It's not in vain. You know what I mean? Hey, Kevin. What's up, buddy? Amanda says, I love spoiling. I like being spoiled, so we're even. Amanda says, hi, Kevo. I've been working on some new songs in my head. I started working on them last week, but I had to give up learning the riffs and stuff. I say they're new songs. They're old songs, but they're new to my repertoire. CJ has his phone. Kevin's phone? Got it. Well, what's CJ doing with Kevin's phone, April? Don't he have his own phone? I don't blame you. I didn't want my kids to have a phone either. I got called every name in the book because I didn't give them one. They're 5. They don't need a phone yet. They got their whole lives to be corrupted. They don't need to have it done from inside my house while I'm looking at them. It's funny, though. They say that the difference between the truth and conspiracy theories is about 6 months of time. Because what you're saying today, that's a total conspiracy theory, 6 months from now will prove to be true. Well, I found that to be relevant, but not necessarily accurate, because sometimes it takes a few years for the conspiracy theory to come true. Such as, you know how I've said, well, you may not know. People that know me have known me for many years, have heard me say 1,000 times that I feel like I'm living in an alternate universe than the one I grew up in. Well, now everybody's saying that, including people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and other people. It's pretty interesting to hear them say it because they've been calling me kooky for years for saying that. But I think it's true. Fab Daddy says, happy Friday. Hey, Fab Daddy. Good to see you, buddy. How are you? And Amanda says, hi, Fab. Kevin says, hey, brother. What's up, Kev? Are you fighting the law and the law not winning? Amanda says, hey, Kevin. So, yeah, if you hear something that you think is true, or if you say something that you think is true and people think you're crazy, just wait. Chances are it'll bear out to be the truth soon. Fab Daddy says, I be good. Not Johnny be good, but good. Kevin says, I fought the law and CJ won. Patty says, celebrities are wanting money and saying that they are giving to Red Cross, and all the comments say give to the people. Well, I agree with that. And also, you first, celebrity. Why is somebody that's worth $1 million, whose last film grossed a couple $1 million, Why are you asking me for money? My last film didn't gross $2 million or whatever it is you make. Yours did. You've got money. Why don't you give to the Red Cross, and I'll support you in doing so? You're the one with the money. You're the one living on the Hollywood Hill, albeit on fire. I don't like it when celebrities do that. I understand the sentiment of a celebrity saying, well, I'm a popular person. People listen to me. Maybe I should use the platform that I have to do some good. That's fine. I agree with that 100%. But those ones like Oprah Winfrey that'll get out there and make you feel inferior, like you're doing something wrong for not giving, her light bill ain't ever in question. She probably isn't even aware of having one. That's all I'm saying. There have been times in my life where I had to make the decision between putting gas in my car to go to work or paying my light bill. That time isn't now, but I've had those moments. I don't know that she ever has. And if she ever has, it was a long time ago, and she hasn't remembered it for a while. But don't get on TV and make me feel bad because I don't give you money. Why don't you give some money, and I'll get on TV and tell people what a good job you're doing. How's that, Patty? I was watching a thing this morning with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, standing in front of a house that had just burnt down on television with a cheeky smile on his face, blaming Donald Trump for politicizing the wildfires. If you're going to use the backdrop of a burnt building to get your message out, you're doing the very thing you're accusing Donald Trump of doing. Just saying. And he did mention the people in Hawaii who recently also had wildfires that burnt down a large portion of land, and the people that came in and bought that land for pennies on the dollar, and how he had been talking with them about possibly making some deals. It is very evident to me that they're never going to waste the opportunity to make some money. And I don't know. I'm not saying that the wildfires were caused by this, like they made that happen so that they could have land deals. But bet your bottom dollar the land that was ruined by these fires are going to be sold off for pennies on the dollar. Bet money on it. Fab Daddy says, I don't trust actors or politicians. Hey, I don't trust none of y'all. Hey, that's probably a smart move, Fab Daddy. That's called discernment where I come from. And you should have a healthy dose of mistrust for all things unless it's proven otherwise. You shouldn't just give out trust or respect for that matter. It has to be earned. And if there's nothing there that is trustworthy or respectful, you shouldn't give it. I agree with you. Patty says, Michael Douglas said his father, who is Kirk Douglas, by the way, Foundation will donate to the Red Cross, but friends are on that board to write it off. Right on. Patty says they know the reservoir was dry. Should have checked the fire hydrants. Yeah, well, they were too busy trying to, make sure that there was an equal opportunity for employment on the fire department and promoting the wrong types to leadership heads. That's what all that money went to. But the thing is they cut the money by $17 million a couple of years back, the money that goes to the fire department, the governorship did. And they did that so they could use that money in their little programs. They took that money out of the fire department, put it somewhere else. Well, 2-3 years ago, Donald Trump has been saying, there's this big reservoir of water up in Canada. All you got to do is pump it down there. And they're like, nope, we don't want to do all that. Then he talks about the fact that there used to be a giant lake right in the middle of California. A big, big lake that's no longer there. It hadn't been there since probably the 40s. So where is all that water gone? Well, it's being pumped off into the ocean, being diverted away from the reservoirs in honor of saving a little fish called a smelt. A little fish that doesn't do anything or provide anything. It's just there. And rather than move the fish, and assume the cost, they divert the water. Any way you look at it, it's negligence. Fab Daddy says, no, I think the youth should have respect of elders. I don't. If the elder didn't earn the respect, they shouldn't get it. The reason you respect elders is because they've lived a long time and they know things you don't know. But if they're just assholes, why would you respect that? I won't. I don't say ma'am because it's polite. I say ma'am because I mean it. April says, Fab Daddy, good to see you. Much love to you all. To you and all. Heart. Fab Daddy says, same. April says, CJ is wanting my phone now, LOL. Well, if you give up all your phones, you won't have any phones. I understand the quandary you're in, though. Patty says, right, we say grace, we say ma'am. And if you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. Fab Daddy says, you can have mine, CJ. Yeah, I ain't fond of phones either. I only use them to make phone calls and the occasional YouTube video. Patty says, peace. There's a lot of things they could have done in California, though, like forestry management, cleaning the forest floors, controlled burns, for that matter. There's a lot of ways that could have been avoided. They've been talking for years about the winds, and fire department people have been saying, look, it's inevitable. Sooner or later, it's going to come a wind and a fire at the same time that we can't control, and it's just going to wipe everything out. They're sitting in a tinderbox, and they've known that for years. Why there's no rush to fix it is beyond me. If there was a big pothole in the middle of the freeway, somebody would be on it to fix it. If there was a big pothole 5 feet away from the freeway, they wouldn't be in as big a hurry to fix it, I would imagine. But they'd still be making plans to fill it in because holes have a tendency of getting worse. Fires, on the other hand, are immediate. If there's a fire, the minute it gets bigger than you being able to put it out with a bucket of water, it's uncontrollable. You need the fire department and lots and lots and lots of water. Amanda says, an alarm clock 10 times a day. Yes, I do use my phone for an alarm clocks because I'm lazy and irresponsible. Thank you for pointing that out. I got things to do and places to be. If I don't have that, I'm not on time. And I don't like to not be on time. What about you guys? Y'all like to be on time? When's the last time you showed up for something an hour late? Fab Daddy says, I think I'll brew a cup. I think I'll have a cup with you, Fab Daddy. Thank you. News Now, Carolina. He says, hell yeah. I suck toes. All right there. How are you, News? Good to see you. Patty says, Douglas was saying a lot. Michael Douglas was saying a lot of people weren't stars, but behind the scenes, 40 hours weeks that needed help to give money to the people. Well, everybody should be helping if they can be helping, but they shouldn't be accosted or guilted into it. That's the wrong way to do things. April says, I'm going to go to the store. It's CJ. All right. News Now says, sorry, wrong podcast. I have that problem sometimes too, News Now. How are you, buddy? Amanda says, too much information, News Now. Well, toes are yummy. What's wrong with that? April says, sounds good. Hi, News. And John says, think what they need is bigger water planes to fight fires better. I think putting water in planes is a dumb idea. They live next to the ocean. Why they don't pump some water out of the ocean into the fire hydrants is beyond me. News Now says, exactly. Toes are yummy. They are. April says, I agree, John. Aha. Yep. If you live next to the ocean, not having any water should not be an excuse that you have. That's just my opinion. Amanda says, I didn't say toes weren't yummy. It's just too much information. I hear you. Patty says, sounds like a lot. Sounds like a lot to not have insurance. Well, of course they don't, because the insurance companies pulled out. Think about that. In the middle of a firestorm, insurance companies drop people by the thousands because they don't want to cover the fire insurance. Of course they don't have insurance. Insurance is only good when there's nothing wrong. That's when they want to give you insurance. Fab Daddy says, I think the other 1.4 million people in Los Angeles can band together and help them. I think you're right. I think it's all hands on deck at a time like that. It should be at any city, not just Los Angeles. But there's a lot of this that was preventable. A lot. News now says, what's with all this talk about toes? You started it. Toes are yummy. Toes in the water, toes in the sand, toes in my beer and toes in my hand. Fab Daddy says, I watched a great motorcycle high-speed chase in L.A. yesterday. Really? Why? Hell yeah, says News Now. Fab Daddy says, dirt bikes versus cops. That's not a motorcycle, that's a dirt bike. I thought you meant like a Harley Davidson or a Indian or something. Amanda says, LOL, I don't know, News. Question is, do you suck on one at a time or two or all the toes? That's obvious. All the toes. Put the whole thing in your mouth. Wiggle them. What kind of question is that? Who does that, says Patty. Young people with pretty feet. Not old people with dirty, cracky feet. News Now says, dirt bikes versus... All right, now. Wrong place for that. Eat the foot, says John. Eat the foot. Amanda says, LOL, Patty. Yeah. All right, now. I got my toes in the water, toes in the sand, not a care in the world. Cold beer in my hand, life is good today. Life is good today. Adios and via con Dios. Going home now to stay. Yeah, I don't want to sing that song. I'll get copyright claimed. But it's a good song. Toes. Check it out. Who did that? Zach Brown Band. That's who it was. Yummy. Coffee, says Fab Daddy. Patty says, no feet in the mouth. Not once you reach the age of 30. 30 is the cutoff. If you're 19 years old, you can stick your foot right in my mouth. That's fine. It's cute. The moment you start growing those little extra bumps on the ends of your toes, the edges of your toes, we're done. The moment your toenail starts turning brown, you know, the big toe or the pinky toe, or the moment your toenails start doing this number, man, it says, oh, Patty, where's your sense of adventure? Unless you have cute feet, says Amanda. That's what I'm saying. Patty says, I'm not putting a toe in my mouth, 19 or not. I hear you. It ain't for everybody. That's level 3 lovemaking there. Everybody ain't ready for feet in the mouth. I get it. News Now says, delicious. Fab Daddy says, I got beautiful baby feet. So soft and smooth. Taste so good, too. Are you sucking your own toes there, Fab Daddy? That'd be weird. I got cute feet too, but the toenails is a different story. Amanda says, I have adorable feet. You do have adorable feet. Like coffee, an acquired taste. Yep, it is an acquired taste, that's for sure. Try olive oil. Yeah. Fab Daddy says, that's how I trim my toenails. Ooh. Gross. I like it. Amanda says, dang, Fab, you suck your own toes? I think that's what he's going for there. And John says, be careful of the toe jam. Well, my toe jam jams out ℂ𝕙𝕗𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝, so it's okay. But you're right. Beware. Toe jam. Goes well with peanut butter. Patty says, see, that's what I'm screaming. Right on. Yeah. Yeah, you have to wash your feet. You can't just put them in there all willy-nilly. You gotta prepare for toe sucking. Amanda says, he chews his toenails nasty. Yeah, that's kind of gross, Fab. Kind of gross. I use this new thing they invented not too long ago called toenail clippers. April says, OMG. News says, I make one joke and the whole podcast goes to hell. Nah. Fab Day says, give 3 toes. Just 3 toes, baby, and you won't come around here no more. I'm with you. I think there's a Leonard Skinner song. Give me 3 toes, just 3 toes, baby, and you come around here no more. I think that's what you're going for. I like it. News Now says, joke. It's a joke. I was joking. We talk about everything here, News Now. Everything. No subject is off limits. We just try not to get too dirty because there's a lot of ladies here. But we talk about everything. If you bring it up, I'm going to talk about it. April says, bleh. And Amanda says, you're a bad influence, News Now. Nah, he's just toe curious. You have to start out as a pervert before you can become a provert. You know what I'm saying? Start small. Put stuff and go. All right, now. Fab Daddy says, the planets are getting too aligned. Really? That happens often. Every time it happens, people act like it's never happened before, but at least 5 times in my lifetime, they have aligned. At least. John says, I'm the luckiest one. I got bed baths. That's pretty nice, John. I'd take full advantage of that. Play up your age, they'll do things. April says, driving now, y'all. Driving and listening. Well, it's better than drinking and driving, or driving and crying, or downright driving your life away. Bed baths. That sounds fun, but all I can think of is now I got to sleep in a wet bed. Which can be rewarding, but, you know, as a general rule, regardless of what causes it, the wet spot ain't always the best place to lay, but sometimes it can be. Marshall says, hey, Christine, I can't hit the like button. Hi, y'all. Can you not see it? Is it moving around on you? What's happening? Is it taunting you? Amanda says, don't get any ideas, Jake. Hey. How you doing, Christine? Good to see you. Fab Daddy says, I watched Space C blow up yesterday and catch the booster. You must be talking about one of those Elon Musk things. Amanda says, hi, Christine. News Now says, wet bed sounds kinky. Kinky. SpaceX. Right. Space C. The whole SpaceX blew up. Or one of their rockets blew up. Either way, cool. Elon's doing stuff. If anybody can get us to Mars, it's him. The bad thing is when you get to Mars, getting there is fine. The struggle, the plight, the engineering, the work, the ingenuity, the charm, the charisma, the ability, the stick-to-itiveness that it takes. Once you get there, though, it's nothing but dirt. And it's dirt that's jagged, which means if you breathe it, it'll cut your lungs all up. So, and it gets on everything. Sticks to you like magnetized dirt. It's not magnetized, but it's got little jagged hooks all over it, so it sticks to everything. And I don't think it's going to be that fun when we get there, honestly. I want to go to Mars about 200 years after it's been colonized, and people have lived there successfully for at least 100 of those years. And there's a mall, or at least a quick stop. I don't want to go. I don't want to be one of the first people to Mars. That does not sound like a good time to me. Now, I love Star Trek. I am a big space fan. I loved it all my life. I mean, I'm like passionate about sci-fi type stuff. But I'm also grown. And there comes a point where you hit the ceiling of fantasy and meet the cold, blunt surface of reality. And it's just not a place I want to go, ever, for that matter. Amanda says, that's when you know it's good from the wet spot. Right on. Christine says, hello, heart. Oh, Linda Davis is in the house. She says, good evening, all. Good evening, Linda. How are you? How's Walter? Amanda says, hi, Linda, hon. Christine says, no, it does. No, it does it a lot. Oh, the button thing? The internet and YouTube does it a lot. It won't let you hit the like button. Well, that's not good. That means that they're shadow banning me again. That means at some point I've said something that they don't like. John says, I watched Spacewalk today. Cool. Linda says, hi, Amanda, smiley face and claps. News Now says, Mars. I like their candy bars. Right on. They don't come from Mars. You know that, right? A rocket. It looked pretty flying in pieces over the Turks, says Fab Daddy. Yeah, that's the problem with rockets. They're not very reliable. Like, they're good for getting up there, you know. But like 1 in 3 blow up. You really have to work a lot to get one that doesn't blow up. Cheese comes from the moon, says Fab Daddy. I've heard that. I have heard that. Also, I don't know if I buy that. How does it get here? And how would we know, having never been there? Oh, can of worms. That's probably why YouTube won't let you hit the like button there, Christine. I keep saying things like that. And they don't like it very much for some reason. I haven't figured that one out yet, why they care. Because when I first joined YouTube, everybody was talking about the flat earth and Bigfoot. And now, if you mention that we didn't go to the moon, they get all tightwadded. Why is that? Fab Daddy says, the fisherman boy from the movie drops us the cheese. Oh, yeah, the little guy on the moon? Yeah, I know. I know who you're talking about. I know that guy well. He's from DreamWorks. Yep. The DreamWorks moon boy. Where is he fishing at's what I want to know. He's not casting a line to the earth. If so, there's easier ways to do that, like off a bridge on Earth. News Now says, I did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. Did you come home with a brand new plan? Taking C's from Colombia and Mexico, plant them in the holler on Copperhead Road? Fab Daddy says he's dropping us cheese with his rig. Right on. I hear you. That's a good conspiracy theory. What we ought to do is tie that in with some reality and have a location where the cheese lands, and then we could go have people go out there and take pictures of it. Although, I would caution you, the moon isn't real, so how is the cheese coming from it? That's another conspiracy I heard. I have no way to back that up. News now, what do you say? Cheese or fake? Talking about the moon, people. If you like Owen Benjamin, he'll tell you all about how the moon ain't real. Fab Daddy says, it goes through the Swiss, holy like the moon. It goes through the Swiss? You mean the Alps in Switzerland? Patty says, I have come to believe we have been lied to about pretty much everything since 1960. Well, you're almost right. We have been lied to about everything since the 1800s, like 1839, somewhere in that area. I can't remember the exact date, but you can go look. There's a meeting that happened at Cambridge where all the heads of academia got together. And you can find the minutes online if they're still there. They might be gone by now, but it's just look for minutes of Cambridge, circa 1800s, and you'll find it. And they talked about some stuff in that meeting, and one of the things was to remove God from academia. And in order to do that, they had to institute policies like evolution and the changes that they made to science, bringing all the sciences together under one roof, and then calling it quote-unquote science, changing the meaning of the word science. All of that happened in the 1800s, and since then, it's been a systematic move to wallpaper everything with a certain veneer. And that veneer you can see on everything that you touch from the time you're born until the time you're leaving high school, and probably after that. And this is true. Everything is bullshit. All of it. Everything you ever thought you believed is wrong. Mandy says, exactly, Patty. News Now says, if the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it? Yeah, I like cheese. I'd eat some of it. I wouldn't eat the whole thing. That's a lot of cheese. Fabiday says, brown cows give chocolate milk. Yes, they do. Then where does strawberry milk come from, Fab Daddy? Amanda says, then where does... Stop repeating my thoughts. If the moon was spare ribs, would you eat it? I'd eat some of it. Again, that's a lot of spare ribs. I'm not overzealous. Come on. April says, LOL. Oh, I'm never going to live that one down. Nobody mentioned your name, April. But since you did... Fab Daddy says, pink cows? Maybe. I hadn't seen many of those. Amanda says, nope. Never gonna live it down. April says, the aliens, LOL. Right on. Fab Daddy says, how do you kill a blue elephant? How do you kill a blue elephant? I don't know. Amanda says, I'd like to see a pink cow. Well, if you do enough LSD, you're liable to. And with a blue elephant gun. That makes sense, Fab Daddy. I thought you were going to say something like give him Xanax. You know how to catch a special rabbit? You sneak up on it. You know how to keep an idiot in suspense, Fab Daddy? I'll tell you later. Blow a bubble, says April. But that'll do it. How would blowing a bubble kill a pink cow? A blue cow, excuse me. I'm getting my colors confused. They're all gray to me. All right, boys and girls. We have reached that moment in time. I would like to ask you all to take a moment and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button if you can, if it doesn't move every time you try to hit it, and let people know you enjoyed the video. It helps us get pushed out there to other people, get us recommended to other locations, and that's what we want. Ring that bell. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love what you hear tonight and you want to see more of it, if you want to be part of something special and you'd like to help out, you can do that by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you're a Cash App user, $JakeJohnsonBand, or you can leave a super chat or join the channel, get yourself a J-tag, buy a t-shirt, any number of ways you can help out if you so choose to. I will always be working hard as I can to be worthy of that support. I will answer all of your questions and comments as I always do, like right now. All right, thank you. By the way, if you guys hadn't checked out our brand new Facebook page, go over to facebook.com/UntetheredLive Family. That's all one word, Untethered Live Family. And check it out. It's a great place to keep up with all things Untethered Live Universe and keep up with each other outside of the show. Send pictures, texts, chats, and whatnot. It's a good place to go. Facebook.com/UntetheredLive Family. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you. April says, I don't know, LOL. Patty says, have you ever seen the doors on the St. John's Lettering? Probably. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I probably have. Fab Daddy says, critical thought? Right? I think critically. Not always logically, but definitely critically. Trolls Madar says, yo, what's up, trolls? Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? How did you find us? And what would you like to talk about? Patty says, unbelievable. Yeah, the architecture in the old days is quite fascinating. Architecture from the old days as juxtaposed to the architecture of today is mind-boggling. There's even people thinking some weird things about the world because of the architecture of the Dark Ages. Because they hadn't figured out that the Dark Ages was only a period of about 100 years, and it didn't actually happen the way we fantasize it, romanticize it in movies. Patty says, giants? Possibly. Troll says, do you think it's possible we'll take Greenland, Canada, and the Panamas? And if so, how about Mexico while we're at it? Well, I think all things are possible. Not very likely, trolls. Most of these things are political talking points and done for the effect of getting people riled up. Now, that being said, there are logical reasons why and strategic reasons why we need the Panamas and the Greenland, not so much Canada. I think that was just an empty threat towards Trudeau, but whatever, it had its desired effect. Trudeau did step down, and nobody's talked about it since. So you tell me. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, considering that we gave away Panama for $1, thanks to Jimmy Carter. And Greenland, the people that live there actually don't possess the right to live there. They just kind of moved in. And I'm not sure what we have to do with that, but it has something to do with some rights on paper that hundreds of years ago. I don't know. So it is possible. Likely? Probably not. I would imagine we got more fish to fry here at home than we do at other places. Patty says, Rome. Yes, Rome is unbelievable. April says, much love, everybody. Heart, heart, smiley face. Thank you. Much love back to you, April. And Amanda says, heart, 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 April. Are you leaving us now? Because you're driving with CJ in the kitchen with the candlestick? It's a good cup of coffee. Thank you. Whoever provided the coffee for tonight's episode, thank you very much. Fab Daddy says, who should take the credit for the ceasefire? Well, clearly Trump. Trump or Biden. Or just, can they share that win and be happy? Well, they can't share that win because Biden didn't do anything. He's had 4 years to cause something to happen there. Oh, well, 2 years, because this thing's been going on for a couple of years. And even though the president has the power to put that kind of pressure on Israel because we're its biggest supporter, it didn't happen. It wasn't until Trump threatened Benjamin Netanyahu over his upcoming war that they agreed to have talks for the ceasefire, which have concluded, and the ceasefire has been done. So absolutely 100% that was Trump's doing. That being said, Biden got on TV night before last and took full credit for it, saying his team went over there and talked. His team did not. That's a lie. Troll says, if Canada, U.S., and Mexico were one, the country's acronym would be CUM, right? No, it would be Texas. What the hell's wrong with you? It'd probably be USCAMO, USCAMO. Or ME, USCAME. USCAME, that's what it would be. USCAME, USCAME. That's what it would be. Welcome to the USCAME. But see, the United States would be the first letter in that acronym. So it would be either A, because we use America, or U.S., because we use United States of America. Amanda says, you're welcome. There is more coffee. Thank you. Thank you very much. U.S. came. I like it. It's not going to happen because Canada, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but it's its own country. We can't just take another country unless we, occupy it. And that requires war. And we're not going to go to war with Canada or Mexico. Too much trading going on. It was Biden's plan made back in May. No, Biden wrote a plan back in May and then didn't act on it. It was not Biden's plan. Trump did not go over there because Biden instructed him to. Think about what you're saying. No, Biden wrote a plan, which you've never read, so you don't know what you're talking about there. But Biden did write a plan. It was a stupid plan. It wouldn't have worked, but the reason it didn't work is because he didn't act on it. He just wrote it up and then nothing. Why is that? Bad shit crazy, says Hal. Hal, back at you, bad shit. How are you doing, buddy? Amanda says hi. Fab Daddy says, I think it's silly that they can't just admit it was a dual participant effort. Well, it wasn't. I mean, they could admit that, but it wouldn't be true because Biden didn't do anything. It was not anything Biden did that caused that ceasefire. Not one bit. He hadn't thought about that at all. Matter of fact, he made efforts to support Israel and everything that they did right up until the moment Trump put a stop to it. Patty says there is so much oil in the Gaza Strip and research. Who owns it? Right on. Why you argue? I'm not arguing. I'm stating facts, Fab Daddy. If you're arguing with the facts, it's because you don't understand the facts. I'm saying what happened. You asked a question, I answered it. I'm not arguing with you. Trolls says, am I on a timeout? No. Why would you be? You're allowed to ask silly questions. You're just not allowed to go overboard with it. Fab Daddy says, you can't find anything good about Joe? That's not the question you asked me. Sure, I can find good things about Joe. I'm not looking for anything good about Joe except for him leaving. That would be good. Hurry up and get the hell out of here. But he's a human being. I'm sure there are good things about him. But you didn't ask me that. You asked me who should get credit for the ceasefire, which I answered Trump. Why did I answer Trump? Because Trump is the one that caused the ceasefire to happen, not the other way around. Troll says, countries better have the right price, or it's $14.92 all over again. I don't know what any of that means, trolls, but I hear you. And Amanda says, nope, you're not, trolls. It might be YouTube. So if you're saying something YouTube doesn't like, sometimes they'll pull the chat. I've seen that happen before. It is not me when that occurs. I didn't do it. Patty says, heck, what was good about him 40 years ago? Well, if you go back in time, now, Biden, one good thing I'll say about Biden is that man knows how to have staying power because he has been in some form of office for the last 50 years. Since I've been alive, he's been doing something. So kudos to him for work ethic, if nothing else. He also will say anything if it leads him to a powerful position. He has no qualms about changing, flip-flopping, going the opposite direction, whatever it is he wants to do. If it's within the framework of whatever his party is doing, he'll say it and commit to it. That takes balls. Joe Biden has balls. I'll give him that. There's two good things about Joe Biden that I just said. That being said, if you go back in time to the very first time you seen Joe Biden in office, listen to anything he says through the 70s, right on up through the 90s. If you like that guy after that, you are not the kind of person I thought you were. Amanda says, good thing about Biden, he's leaving office. Right about it. That's three things good about Joe Biden. And Fab Daddy says, again, if you think Joe had nothing to do with the ceasefire, you might be brainwashed. No. Calling me brainwashed isn't an argument. That's a ad hominem attack, Fab Daddy. I've actually read the documents. I actually know what occurred. So if I think Biden had nothing to do with the ceasefires, it's because there's no evidence of anything him having done to cause the ceasefires, which there isn't. If you can point to something, I'd be glad to read it. What I have read, Trump went over there, made a threat, and it stuck because they know he'll back it up when he gets in office in a week. Now, what I fully expect to see, this may be completely out there and wishful thinking, but I fully expect to see hostages released over the next 4 days because he's going to be in office and he's already threatened that on day one he's going to rain down hellfire and brimstone if they don't release them. So we'll see. I'm wishing for the best, though, for the sake of the hostages, not for the sake of Trump. But no, I'm not brainwashed. I'm probably the most unbrainwashed person you will ever meet in your life. I am one of the very few people that actually think my own thoughts. And if you think I'm not, you're not listening. Troll says, Biden makes me throw up in my mouth. Well, I don't have a personal feeling about him either way. I don't like the guy, but I don't lay awake at night thinking about Joe Biden. Nor do I hate him. He's just a politician that goes in a different direction than I like to see the country go in. That's it. Patty says George Clooney wouldn't even give him the dollars. George Clooney even backed out on him. Yep. Amanda says Trump derangement syndrome. Much there, Fab? Just straight derangement. I roll like that. That's all right. At least you can admit it. I get a little bit sideways too, Fab Daddy. Believe that. Patty says, watch Thomas Sowell footage and Biden go at it back in the day. It's very good to watch. Thomas Sowell is one of the most preeminent African-American authors that writes about race and that sort of thing, among other things. He's a very, very smart guy. I recommend anybody read Thomas Sowell. And I didn't know that he and Biden had debates back in the day, but I would be very interested to watch that. Troll said Biden was the worst president in my lifetime. Well, I've been through considerable amount of presidents. I don't know how old you are, Trolls, but when I was born, Ford was the president. So there's been a few. And I would have to agree with that. Him... I'm going to say him and Jimmy Carter were the worst presidents in my lifetime. Jimmy Carter really didn't do anything that I disagreed with so much other than just hippy-dippy nonsense that didn't matter, right? He just, he had no oomph, no gumption. He just was the not-seen president, you know. He cared about peanuts and solar panels. He didn't really do anything at all, good or bad. Joe Biden, on the other hand, has systematically worked his way through destroying everything good about this country that he could get his hands on. And I am quite happy that that is over. And I don't care whose name is attached to it. That shouldn't happen. The country has an ideal. The country has an identity. The country has a legacy. And anybody that's going to be president should first and foremost uphold those things. If they don't, going into the future doesn't matter too much now, does it? Because it ain't going to be here when we get there if you don't. Amanda says Obama and Biden. Obama and Biden are the same president. That's why I didn't say Obama and Biden. Because their presidency were exactly the same. They had the same agenda. Matter of fact, from Obama, if Hillary Clinton would have won, she would have been the exact same president, and Biden was the exact same president. That's why the conspiracy theory is out there that Obama's pulling the strings behind the scenes, and he's really the president, and the guy in charge is just a figurehead. I don't believe that, but there is that conspiracy theory out there, and that's why, because they're running the same playbook, all three of them. Now, the first Clinton, I am not a Democrat. I don't support Democrats. I wouldn't have voted for him. He wasn't a bad president. I mean, he did pretty good stuff for the country for the most part until the very end there. He got a little squirrely. And when he got his hand caught in the cookie jar, he really got squirrely. But other than that, despite all the things I know about Clinton and their previous actions in Mena, Arkansas, and things like that, despite all of that, I'm smart enough to know that the game is rigged and that all politicians are corrupt in some fashion, and they all play the game to get where they are. I know that's how the world works, so I don't hold that against people. Don't you know Donald Trump's corrupt? Yeah, and what are you saying? Biden isn't? Obama wasn't? Think about this for a minute. Clinton wasn't a bad president. We had a country morale during Clinton's administration that felt like America. I'll give that to him. I didn't like him, but he was my president for that 8 years, however long he was in office. I can't even remember now. Fab Daddy says solar panels and Carter. LOL, right? He's the guy that put the bowling alley and the solar panels in the White House. Troll says, do you think it's over for the elites and Trump will expose all? Absolutely not. That would be naive to think that. The elites are so dug in that no man by himself could ever expose them all. And even if he did, they would just keep going. I mean, Trump only got 4 years left. What is he going to achieve in 4 years? He might do some good to the country, but it's just the calm before the storm, because after Trump, it all goes back to zero. Fab Daddy says, damn, solar is so 90s. I think it was the 80s when he put, or 70s when he put that in. So Carter served in the 90s? You're young. No, Carter didn't serve in the 90s. Carter served right before Reagan served. So that would have been early 80s, late 70s, somewhere in that area. Amanda says Carter was early 80s. Fab Daddy says LOL. Dakota writes here. Hey, Dakota. She says, hi, friends. He says, hi, friends. Amanda says Carter was president in 77 to 81. Well, there you go. So somewhere in that time is when he put solar panels on the White House. And then the next president, Reagan, came in and took them down, so they really never even did anything. Troll says, I'm voting for Tulsi in 2029. I would too, no, Trolls. I like Tulsi Gabbard. April says, hi, Dakota. Patty says, it is going to be very interesting to watch this administration take the stage. I say buckle your seatbelts. We're going for a ride, baby. I agree. I think it's going to be mayhem all the way through. I think every political pundit is going to be on high alert. I think every newspaper is going to be slinging mad nonsense. And I think every deep state agent is going to be doing his utmost to hamper anything that Trump does. I don't imagine it's going to be peaceful. Such is the world. Keep the calm going with Tulsi, says Trolls. I'm with you. I would vote for her. I would vote for J.D. Vance. although J.D. Vance is just an idea right now because I haven't actually seen him do anything. So he may turn out to be a complete washout. I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy, but from what I see right now, I would cast a vote for him if he ran. But there's other people in line that may possibly run after Trump. But if he sets it up right, he can set up a legacy. And if he puts the right people in office and puts the right people ahead of him and actually pushes them forward, he could run that MAGA movement for the next 25 years if he plays his cards right. Chances are he's not gonna be able to. But if he does, Gavin Newsom, 2028 says Fab Daddy. Fab Daddy. I don't even know how to respond to that. Wow. Look at California. That will be the whole United States if Gavin Newsom becomes president. Dakota says, how's your evening, Amanda? And Amanda says, awesome, Dakota, just trying to stay warm. Patty says, heck yeah. And Dakota says, hi, Patty. Amanda says, Tulsi believes in late-term abortions. That's about all I don't like about her. Well, I don't know where she stands on that. I haven't asked her. I know she propagated that when she was a Democrat. She has since left the Democratic Party, and I don't know if she's changed her rhetoric on that subject. That being said, there's always going to be a Democratic opposition to the Republican strife. So if abortions is on the table, that'll be one of the things they fight about. I don't care about that. What I care about is the end result of what happens to the country. And all of those little policies or stances, they just add up to worse things than they are, right? So there's never going to be a time where we have people that are just fighting about the things we want them to fight about. There's always going to be nonsense from both sides, depending on whoever you are. You might be a Democrat, and Republicans are always going to be coming up with something that hinders your ability to be whatever it is you want to be. And if you're a Republican, Democrats are always going to come up with something that's anti-Bible and makes you feel like you're being oppressed. This is just the nature of politics. I don't care about that. Think about what their plan for the country is. Do they actually stand for the country? This last administration, it's clear that they do not. Patty says Gavin will do good to keep his slim, shady, slick hair on after this fire, right? John says Gavin Newsom is a joke. Fab Daddy says we're planning on turning everyone into grapes. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to know what the world would be like if Gavin Newsom became president, just watch the movie Soylent Green, and you'll see. That's the end of the left-wing ideology. That's where it goes. If you don't believe that, just hang on. I'll tell you what, go watch the movie Soylent Green, and then just imagine how many things that were introduced in that movie that have actually happened in the last 20 years, and then what's left in the movie that hasn't happened. Imagine how long you think it would take to get to that spot where it would, because that's where we're going. Then raisins, grapes, then raisins. Then they can all be California raisins, right? Fab Daddy says California raisins are going to take over the world. Well, they tried that in the 70s and they failed. The best that they were able to achieve was a McDonald's toy, and then they petered out of existence. So, ooh, I heard it through the grapevine. Patty says Gavin looks like the 1970s TV preacher that wants to slap, that you want to slap silly. I don't disagree. He does kind of look like that. Everyone says blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter what we think. Well, that's not true. It absolutely matters what you think. And the more people that say what they think, the more opportunity what you think has to become a reality. If you don't speak, you don't create. Kevin says, night. Good night, Kev. Thank you, buddy. I ain't far behind you. Amanda says, good night, Kevin. And April says, they don't care. No, they do not care. But you should, because your voice is all you have in this world. And April says, good night, Kevin, love. Heart, heart. Aw, that's sweet. Trolls Matter says, one of my good friends has a Democrat liberal views. We're friends, but sometimes his views annoy me. Well, I understand that. I got a lot of Democratic friends, too. The thing that annoys me the most is recently it has become a fad that if you disagree with somebody, to cut them out of your life. That's what the liberals are doing nowadays. And so lots of friends have been lost over that divide in thinking, where when I was younger, it didn't matter who you voted for. We could find common ground on other planes, right? Who you voted for was just one aspect of you. Now it's everything. Now it's your identity. I don't like that too much. Trolls, by the way, have you not subscribed to the channel? How about hit that subscribe button, buddy, and come back and see us? I like the way you think. Fab Daddy says, one of my best friends is a Republican, but we don't talk about politics. Yeah, if you have a friend that votes differently than you, it's not wise, because if your friendship is valuable to you, don't talk about things that will divide you. April says, I do. You do what? Remind me of the babe? What babe? April says, I can't stand politics because of that reason. I see where you're coming from, and I understand that. But I used to feel that way too. But the thing is, if you see, there's been an incredible squeeze down on speech in the last 10 years, 15 years. Incredible, like the likes of which this country has never seen, where people are being censored, people are being censured and outright obfuscated, pushed to the side. The answer to bad ideas has always been and always will be more ideas, right? Because bad ideas get heard by the masses, and the masses poo-poo it, right? If I say something stupid, everybody in the chat's going to attack me because I said something stupid and show me how stupid I am for what I just said. Or they'll try, right? And I do the same thing. But that's how come I'm able to, cultivate my thought process, because that attacking is important. If you don't stomp out bad ideas, they grow and become third wave feminism. If you just sit back and go, well, they're not hurting anybody. Let's burn a few bras. What's it going to hurt? I mean, they're not wrong. Why get in their way? Just let them, they'll tire themselves out. Yeah. Go to any college campus today and see where that idea went to. And you'll see that is not a smart move. It's not smart to let people be overzealous about things they know nothing about, because that ruins the pot. So the best antidote for a bad idea is another idea. And a good idea will be praised, and a bad idea will be poo-pooed. That's freedom of speech. Our forefathers understood that when they wrote the Constitution. That's why that part is added to it. That's why it's paramount. It's number one, freedom of speech. You got to have that. If you can't talk, you can't grow. So I hope that helps. Which is why I changed my mind about just not being part of the problem. Trolls says subscribed and liked. Thank you, Trolls. Appreciate you. Welcome to the show. Amanda says, thanks, Trolls. April says, welcome, Trolls. Care. I can't stand politics, and for that reason, I don't care. Got it. Amy Elizabeth, she says, like, shared, invited some friends. Glad to see you're back, Jake. I was worried about you. Thank you, Amy. I was in bed suffering from a pulled something or other that made my hand useless. And I was in quite a lot of pain. So I sat a couple of shows out, but I'm back and I'm better. And I thank you for thinking about me. And here we are, rocking and rolling. Back on schedule. April says, hi, Amy. Good to see you. Amanda says, hi, Amy, and thank you. Patty says, I guess I'm a little hard on the last administration, but dang, why would I not be? Exactly. But people always try to trap me in. Well, why do you hate Joe Biden so much? I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't care about Joe Biden. I don't like what he does. I don't like his policies. But I don't wish any ill will to that man. He deserves to live like the rest of us do. I'll argue the merits. I'll argue the points. I'm not attacking the man, although he is quite silly. Troll says, April saying thank you is thank you enough for me. Smiley face. Aw. Fab Daddy says people need the ability to communicate to be secure in their speech. Absolutely. April says, Amen, trolls, prayers, and mystery hearts. Fab Daddy says, hey, Amy. April says, they all act like juveniles. Yeah, they really do. If you watch Congress, if you go watch them have meetings, right? And I've watched a lot of that. I swear to God, it looks exactly like high school did. So when you were in high school, sitting in your chair, about to fall asleep on your fist, listening to your teacher drone on, and the thought ran through your head, I wonder what all these people are going to be like in 25 years. They just went from high school to Congress. Nancy Pelosi is a 95, however old she is, year-old teenager. They never grew up. They just went to another place, but they're still the same people. They are stunted in that mentality. They bicker and fight like cats. It's ridiculous. Amy says, hey, Fab, April, Amanda, and the Jakins. Hello. Jakins. I like it. April says, I do care. All right. Fab Daddy says, April has a big heart. Yes, she does. She has a big heart, and she loves everybody and does not like to see drama happen. Patty says, I can be me on this channel, and all here know or should know I want to be a kind, understanding, with love person, and I really do want someone that can run this country and correctly. Amen, Patty. Well spoken. John says, we should love all, even if we vote differently. I agree, John. Absolutely. That's why me and Fab Daddy go back and forth all the time, but anytime he comes in, I'm happy to see him, and I'm happy to hear what he's got to say, even if I disagree with it, because you need pushback on ideas, even mine. I'm not trying to brainwash or convert anybody. I'm just espousing what I think to be true. If you think something different, you should say it and espouse it your own way. Fab Daddy says, Patty, you are nice. Fab Daddy, Patty is nice. Very nice. Batshit Crazy says, HBJ, what's up? That's that band hammer, yo. Amanda says, LOL Amy. And April says, yes, thumbs up, and hi, Batshit. And Amanda says, how you doing, Batshit? Patty says, well, April, most of them have never worked, and they're all trust fund kids. Right, they never got out of high school. They are what they were in high school. They just got older. And most of them, their fashion hasn't changed. By the way, I read a report somewhere, and I can't remember. You have to look it up. It's on, there's videos about it, and there's also on Google. But it was like a reporter asking somebody, they were talking about football, and he started listing off, and he said, which team do you think this is? He listed off like 200 arrests, 85 divorces, 37 indictments. And it just goes down the list of criminal activity over and over and over. Domestic abuse, drug abuse, child abuse, pornography, perversions of all kinds. And they're like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what football team that would be. And he goes, you're right. That ain't the football team. That's the Congress. So go look at it. Go check it out. What they've been accused of and have been arrested for, how many times they've been arrested, what things they have done wrong in the world. The Congress is not a upstanding, gleaming example of American high society. They are the dregs of society in a lot of cases. April says, right. Amy says she, meaning Pelosi, has an alcohol addiction issue. Probably. She definitely has a Botox addiction issue for sure. Patty says the Bible said our leaders would be this way. Yes, it did. And we talk about that on Sundays and Mondays. But yes, everything that's happening now has been foretold for thousands of years. Nothing is new. This was all seen coming a long time ago. And I assure you it's going to continue in exactly the vein it's written about in the Bible. Amanda says, and that's why she fell and broke her hip. I have no idea why she fell and broke her hip. I just know that she did. She was in another country when she did it, so she must not have been at home drinking. Don't know. Batshit Crazy says Washington, D.C. and Hollywood. D for ugly, folks. Yep, they're both evil. April says, thanks, Fab Daddy. Mwah. Amy says, I don't like Pelosi, but I wouldn't wish addiction on anyone. It ruins lives in so many ways. Yes, it does. April says, agreed, Amy. Fab Daddy says, I have many addictions. Help me, Amy. Amy says, mean girls. Yes, it's like mean girls. They are vicious to one another. Congress is. Amy says, Fab, it's good to realize you need help first. Then that's the hard part. Find a program. Patty says, look at where Pelosi comes from. Do the research. Right on. Fab Daddy says, like a TV guide, Amy? That kind of program? No. I think she means the kind of, Lord grant me the serenity to control the things I can't. That kind. April says, whoa. Batshit says, self-grading. Something. Self-grading the batshit crazy handle. A. Good enough. A minus. Good enough. Got it. I don't speak hieroglyphics very well, batshit crazy. You need to spell it out for me. I'm old. Amy says, I spent the last 6 months of my life trying to get my husband to realize the demons were on his back. He didn't listen, and it was what ended his life. The last 6 months of his life, not my life. I'm sorry to hear that, Amy. But the truth of the matter is them demons are on everybody's back. They're just lucky enough to get a few of them. That's all. Some of them can withstand them. Some of them can't. But they're everywhere. And everywhere you turn, there's temptation and pitfalls. You really got to be strong to live in this world. Fab Daddy says, my condolences. April says, Amy, I'm so sorry. Gosh, hugs. Life and prayers to you. Love and prayers to you. Amy says, it was October 11th, 2022. That's terrible, Amy. I'm sorry you had to go through that. April says, whoa. Amy says, he didn't know it was laced with fentanyl. Yep, that stuff's out there and wonder where that comes from. Anybody want to take a guess at that? You think it just happens to be in the drug supply? It just got there somehow? Fab Daddy says, be prepared. The older you become, the more death you will experience. Yes, this is true. John says, so sorry, Amy. Heart, 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 prayers and prayers. And Amy says, China. Yeah, it came from China. I mean, how did it get in all the drugs? Why is it in drugs? Like drugs weren't good enough to start with? All the drug dealers said, hey, we're going to kick this up a notch for you guys. No, there's more to it than that. Good old-fashioned drugs are good enough. You don't need to make them stronger and more deadly. Every drug user out there is not trying to kill themselves. They're trying to escape the pain that they're in one fashion or another, mental or physical or otherwise, spiritual. They are not suicidal. They may end up suiciding themselves, but they are not thinking that when they go down that road. It's the grips of addiction that cause that. It is not the thought of wanting to end one's life. So Drug users did not request stronger shit to be put in their drugs. They'd be happy just to find some drugs, period. But yet, here this is, and it's in everything. It's not just in the coke. It's in weed, for God's sakes. It's in pills. It's in heroin. It's in crystal methamphetamines. It's in everything you can think of. The only thing it hasn't gotten into so far is the alcohol supply, which is legal in the United States, by the way. How many people you reckon have died from alcohol-related incidents? It's legal. You can go buy it at a convenience store. I'm just saying. It's weird. That shit says, be searching, fearless and thorough, harsh, effective. Right on. April says, that's Allison's birthday. Interesting. Amy says, easier to make more than. I don't think that's why it's there, though, because you can make plenty of the other stuff. There's plenty to go around, I promise. We got poppy fields. We got a whole country full of them. That's where the heroin comes from. South America is where all the cocaine comes from. We're not hurting for drugs, yet somehow certain batches of them just tend to get in here. I'm not espousing any hard evidence or stating any facts. I'm just asking the question, why is it all of a sudden there? Why hasn't it been there for decades? It just happened? That shit says, casino commercial just happened. Nice. Amy says, sorry, I didn't mean to be a Debbie Downer. Wah, wah, wah. Nah, you're fine, Amy. We understand. It's in everything. Never seen it in weed. Well, trust me, there's reports of it. It's there. April says, yep, like Jake is right. It just got there for a reason. Much like crack just showed up in the 80s and went to all the places it went and had the effects that it had. Just like the poppers showed up in all of the nightclubs and raves, and all of the people started all of a sudden getting certain symptoms of, alphabetic related diseases. All at once, which doesn't happen anymore, oddly enough. That's the opposite of a pandemic. I'm just saying. And every single time, whether it be Mena, Arkansas, whether it be, I'll just stop right there. There's always a 3-letter agency accused of something. Iran-Contra. What do you think they were talking about? What do you think Ollie North was up there admitting to in the 80s? Remember that? Whether it be the poppy fields in Afghanistan with the military, U.S. military protecting them. Why is that? Does that even make sense to anybody? Why would we do that? Well, it turns out there's a lot of money in poppy fields. Not for poppy, though. There's not enough bagels in the world. Amanda says, it's all in the street weed, Fab. Fab Daddy says, but I get all your weed anyways, Jake. You'd have to, because I don't smoke weed. Amy says, drunk drivers kill a person every 10 minutes in this country, plus the health issues involved. Yes, lots and lots of alcohol-related injury. If you look, it's the highest killer on the planet, just about. Not quite the highest, but it's up there in the high ranks. Top 5 for sure. And it's legal in America. Why is it legal? Well, because of the prohibition and because of things that happened after that. There's a lot of things that went into that decision. But then when they did the schedule classifications for the drugs, go look at that when you find out what scheduled drugs are and what sentences they carry. For example, crack cocaine is scheduled higher than cocaine, which is the same thing. It's only additive is cooking oil. Interesting. John says, they are missing something in their life, as I know alcoholics as well. I think that's what you're saying. Or are you saying you are an alcoholic as well? They're missing something in their life. Trust me, I know, because I'm an alcoholic as well. I think that's what you're saying. Anyway, yes, all people that are addicted to something, they didn't get there just because they wanted to end their life. They got there because they were trying to get through life, and it got the better of them. You know, addiction is not a thing you choose. It's a thing you end up at, right? So that shit says, Amy E71 source, please. What are we talking about? Amy says, 2 teen boys died from weed laced with fentanyl in Ohio. Well, there you go. I mean, it's in everything. It's in all the drugs, all the consumer drugs. It's probably in Molly and in anything else you could think of. I don't know about all the drugs, but there's a bunch of them. Patty says, Amy Elizabeth, they can't understand Satan goes in and out of heaven bragging about who didn't order him out. Well, this is true. Fab Daddy says, no one ever gave me drugs for trick or treating. I feel left out. Yeah, the whole razor blades in the candy thing, the drugs in the candy, I never got any of that either. And that was like the big Satan scare in the 80s. Satanic. They thought satanic people were taking over the world. Sometimes the news just makes up stuff to talk about. It's called a news cycle. They got to fill it with something. If it bleeds, it leaves. Remember that? Nobody ever said it had to be true or accurate. Amy says, bats, go to the NTSB for the stats. Amanda says, baking soda, not cooking oil, cocaine, whatever. I think you use cooking oil and baking soda. But what I'm saying is there's no other drugs in it. It's the same drug. It's just in a different form. That's the point I was making. I don't cook crack cocaine, so I wouldn't know. But from what I read, it seems like they just make it into a chunk so you can smoke it rather than snort it in powder form. It's also easier to sell more of it that way. It's actually less cocaine than what's in the bag. It's just hits you a different way because it goes into your lungs and goes into your bloodstream in a different fashion. But why is it scheduled so differently and the sentence for having it so different? Think about that and ask why. That stands for the National Transportation and Safety Bureau. Thank you, Fab Daddy. I was wondering about that. And John says, yes, I'm an alcoholic. Got it. And Amy says, some people become addicted by following doctor's orders, too. Correct. My point is they start medicating to solve a problem that's in their life, whether it be physical, spiritual, or emotional, or mental. Drugs do a lot of things. All of them are bad, but they all feel pretty good. So if you could imagine being in uncompromising pain, right? And then all of a sudden you take a little pill and you feel pretty good. You could imagine you could get used to that. Pretty soon it becomes like gasoline. You got to take a pill so you could feel good long enough to get your job done. Then, after a while, you got to take a pill to get your job done. You got to take a pill to come home. You got to take a pill to sit and watch TV and listen to your wife bicker about the trash. You got to take a pill because you got to go out and mow the yard. And next thing you know, you're just taking pills, 10, 15, 20 of them a day, whatever. It happens so fast and so gradually that most people don't even notice they're doing it. People that start out with recreational drugs are just trying to have a good time, right? Go out and have a party, be with some friends. Do a little something a little crazy. Yeah, let's do a little cocaine. Yeah, cool. Next thing you know, you're selling your car to buy a cookie. It just happens that way. So when people that have impulse problems or self-control problems are met with that same temptation, they have a lot harder of a time of saying, oh, maybe we need to slow down a little bit. So they just keep going. And the day never comes where they just crash completely. They survive it, so they keep going. Well, The problem with not crashing completely is that it gives you the false sense that you can do this another day and be all right. Now you're in dangerous territory, because now is when your life is in danger. Now you can go too far and your body can't bounce back. And that happens. Patty says, yep, give you blood thinners and tell you not to eat grapefruit. Why? Because it's a natural blood thinner. Well, you could just eat a grapefruit and not take the blood thinner. How about that? Blood pressure, I mean. Right on. Blood pressure. Yeah, Coumadin is a blood thinner that they give you to keep you from having a stroke, and you're only supposed to take that for a period of time. My mom was on it for like 10 years. They just never took her off of it. It was like, Mom, you're not supposed to just take this forever. You know, your blood is supposed to flow. But whatever. Amy says substance abuse disorder. You could call it that. I don't know if substance abuse itself is a disorder. I'm not sure I buy into the alcohol is a disease thing or whatever it is. I think you make a choice. I think that choice is easy. I don't think it's it's not at all cumbersome to you. So you make that choice, and next thing you know, you're wrapped up in something you can't control. I think that's how that works. It might be a disorder. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it is, though. I think the disorder comes before the searching for something to medicate yourself with. Batshit says, I'm related to a few eternal optimists. It's mind-boggling. Yes, eternal optimists are also annoying. People that wake up singing. Amy says, Patty, I agree. Batshit says, NTSB, check. Patty says, right, I meant blood pressure, not blood thinner. Got it. Bill says, the only problem I have is drugs and alcohol. I don't want to be a slave anymore. Lord, please. I thank you for my old lady and kids, rich in family. I just don't want to pass the cycle along. Lord, help me. Well, that's the best way to go, Bill, is to ask the Lord, because if anybody can make you see that you need to change, it's the Lord. You have to hit the bottom before you can reach for the top. And Patty says, food can cure you. Depends on the food. Always. Diet and exercise. And by diet, I don't mean eating things with the word diet on it. If it has the word diet on it, or zero sugar, or anything like that, you stay away from that. It's not good for you. Look at me. It is in their interest as a business to keep you reaching for diet stuff, which means they're not out to fix the problem. They're out to keep the problem going. So anything with the word diet on it is specially designed to make you want to eat it to lose weight, which makes you gain weight, which makes you go try to find more things that have diet written on it. Stop it. Don't even drink Diet Coke. It's bad for you. If it don't rot, if it don't come out of the ground, if it isn't leafy, if it doesn't grow in nature, if it isn't white, you can eat it. These are rules of thumb. Eat things that are good for you. Eat things that rot. Eat things that come from dirt. Eat things that grow on vines. Eat things that are not white. This is good for you. Don't eat a lot of processed things. Don't eat a lot of bread. Bread is not good for you. Man cannot live by bread alone. And when you eat bread, remember how bread was originally made. It is not made with all the stuff they put in it today. It's bad for you. Amy says, hopefully Trump will change us from a sick care model to a health care model. Well, RFK might do that. I think that's why he's setting him up. Bill says it's control, like control. Right on. Amy says preventative care model. Right on. Bill says food can be a drug also. Yes, a lot of people eat for comfort, to fill a hole inside of their heart, which can't be filled by food, but that's what they're doing it for. Amy says, once a person hits rock bottom, it gives you a strong foundation to build upon. Right on. If you take the chance and build upon it. People can hit rock bottom and just stay there. Trust me. Patty says, no money in a cure. Correct. That is the truth. And anything you see that purports to be the cure, you run the opposite direction as fast and as hard as you can. That's not the cure. The cure is simple. I'll tell you the truth as best as I know it. I've done a lot of research on the subject. I'm not a doctor, but I might as well be in some areas. Now, the truth is that the answers to all problems are simple. If you look at vegetables, look at what they look like. A carrot looks like an eye. Oddly enough, it's good for your eyes. Cauliflower looks like a brain. Oddly enough, it's good for your brain. Kidney beans look like little livers. Oddly enough, it's good for your liver. See what I'm saying? Go look for things that are simple. Go look for answers that present themselves honestly. For example, salt. I love salt. I'm a Southern boy. I put salt on everything. Salt is a metal. It is classified as a metal. Sodium is metal. Metal does not belong in your body. You have a certain amount of iron, a certain amount of zinc, a certain amount of aluminum, a certain amount of gold in your body that is there naturally, and it does not need any more. If you add more, it makes you sick. Cobalt, aluminum pans, so forth and so on, will make you sick. Stop putting sickness in your body. Sugar. Sugar is fine if it comes out of a fruit or if it comes off of a cane. If it's processed and granulized, it is no longer good for you. It's poisonous. Back away. Bread, bad for you. Pasta, bad for you. Anything white is bad for you. It just is. White bread, white pasta, salt, sugar. Go down the list. Everything that's white is bad for you. Eat simple things. People that drink Mountain Dew should not give food advice. Now listen. I think you're wrong because people that drink Mountain Dew are aware of the dangers of drinking Mountain Dew because they've actually done it. So they're more in a position to tell you not to than a person who's never put it to their lips. And no, Patty, doctors do not study nutrition. No, they study how to cut or drug something. That's it. John says, I died in a shop doorway and a Christian person saved my life, and that's why I got help. Fantastic. Fab Daddy says Mountain Dew drinkers should not give food advice. Well, if you think I'm wrong, Fab Daddy, you should probably speak up and make sure everybody doesn't listen to the person trying to tell them how to save their life. If, however, you think there might be some validity to what I'm saying, maybe being a stumbling block to the message probably isn't a good idea for the sake of who might hear this that might change their life. Now, tell me anything I said that was incorrect, and I will recant gladly. Batshit Crazy says term limits, number one solution. Say 24 years firm Congress. SCOTUS, flexible, not permanent. Down to sheriff, constables. Arizona, well. I hear you, batshit crazy. Yes, term limits are a thing we should have. Amy says there used to be homeopathic teaching hospitals until the government turned up with big pharma. Then they cut funding to any school that didn't prescribe chemicals, a.k.a. medication. Yes, I am not a believer in homeopathic medicine because I've been to a homeopathic, what's the word I'm looking for? The pharmacy for the homeopathic people. There's a word for it. I can't think of it. Apothecary. I've been to an apothecary, and they've got vials of water everywhere. That's homeopathic means in your mind. But there are plenty of actual herbs and spices and fruits and roots and plants of all kinds that will cure what's ailing you, that will fix anything in your life. Most of it, 95% of everything that's wrong with everyone is diet and exercise. If you're not out there moving, you're not out there working, you're not out there making your body function, it's not going to function. If you sit there in front of the TV all day or the computer, you're going to have problems. That's just the way it is. You have to move. That being said, there's a lot of reasons why people don't move. It ain't just laziness. Some people have bad bones. Some people have muscle problems. Some people have issues. I understand. But if you could get out and exercise every day to some strenuous degree where you're sweating, most of those problems would just vanish. So what do? Well, the next thing you can do is watch what you eat. You are what you eat. Your body becomes what it eats. Whatever you put into your system goes through your system, will make you sick, and then you are that. So put good things into your system. Another thing is don't buy into fads like vitamins and things like that. Yes, your body needs vitamins, but it's very smart for you to know what vitamins it needs. Go get a blood panel done, look at what you're deficient in, and take only that. Because any vitamins that you put into your body that it doesn't need, it will not use it. It'll just make you pee it out, thereby being an expensive urination. That's all vitamins are, unless you need them. So just take what you need. Don't make your body have to process all that stuff that you're not going to need. See, the body is a processing plant. Everything you eat has to go into your stomach, and by way of your stomach, it goes through the liver and all the different things. You know, the small intestine, large intestine, colon, the appendix, the gallbladder, the pancreas, all of that stuff is functioning when you eat or drink anything, right? Well, what happens when you don't need something? It just goes to the waste part, goes out your body, right? Well, if it comes out of your body, it had to go through your body. It doesn't just go in your mouth and out your butt. You have to process everything you intake. Everything. Even air goes through your lungs, through the cilia, through the lobes, and then circulates through the bloodstream and out of the pores, right? Everything that you put in your body has to process it. Not everything you put in your body has to use. If it doesn't use it, you put it out in waste, which means you spent effort processing it. Now, what happens if 80% of everything you eat you put out in waste and only 20% you use? Your body still had to process all that stuff. So that's overworking your body and not getting anything out of it. If you can get that number down to 50% or more, 60% even, you're doing a good thing. But as long as the body is not processing or not using most of what it processes, you're overworking your body and causing problems. That's what sickness is your body overworked and caused by having problems caused in it because of it. You can get into things like cholesterols, which there's a lot of hooey in the science of cholesterol. For years, we've been told that trans fats are bad, cholesterol's bad, and carbs are bad, and blah, 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 blah. None of that's true. Cholesterol is actually a byproduct of your blood being healed, and plaque is the offshoot of that. So there's not a lot you can do about that other than don't get in that situation. Or take statins, which is really bad for you. Go look at that. Here's the thing. God knew what he was doing when he designed this body, and it works perfectly. If you're having a problem with it, it's because you're misusing it. Fix the misuse, and your body will function as needed without adding anything to it. All right, that's it. I got to get to the bottom of the chat, and I'm going to bed. Bill Bennett says, he told me how and showed me I'm still screw up at 44. I'm learning slowly, and the sad part is to have the tools and not use them, even though he told me the way. Well, if you're aware of it, fix it. Amy says, God gives us everything we need. True. Colin Hildebettel. What's up, Colin? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Amy says, cauliflower is white. Is it? I think it's a shade of green. But you might be right. Okay, eat broccoli instead. Batshit Crazy says, fresh primetime bread is fine, a.k.a. rye. Primitive bread is fine. Any bread that is cooked in an oven and baked without leaven or without yeast, without sugars, is good. You can eat bread. I'm not saying don't eat bread. I'm saying don't eat white bread that is designed by an industry to be consumable barely. You can make your own bread and it'll be fine. The problem is in the yeast and the sugars. Amanda says, hi, Colin. Long time no see. Bill Bennett says, I don't want free will. Then I realize, how else do you tell who is worthy of the team? Right on. Colin says, hey, Jake, I broke up with my girlfriend. I didn't know you got together with a girlfriend, so that's tragic. Sorry to hear that. Fab Daddy says, I am white and I am not bad for you, but don't eat me. Well, I beg to differ with you, Fab Daddy. If somebody were to eat you, I promise you, you would be bad for them. So anything white is not good to eat. Eggs are okay. Yes, eggs are okay. They're actually a very important source of protein, which you need. So, yes, eggs are okay. Whoever told you they weren't was lying to you. That's why we have so many chickens and they give so freely their eggs, because they're good for you and they keep family fed. Breakfast, however, is not good for you. You shouldn't eat breakfast. You should eat at lunchtime after you've done some work. Amy says, hi, Colin. And by the way, the idea of a light breakfast is a modern invention. Nobody in the old days ate eggs and bacon for breakfast. Bacon is grease-filled. It is not light, despite what people keep calling it. Sausage is not light. A light breakfast is one egg on one piece of wheat toast. That's a light breakfast. But don't eat breakfast. You don't need fuel to run. You need fuel to process, which happens at night, not during the day. So eating breakfast is just putting stuff on you that you have to carry with you through the day. It makes you slow. It makes you sluggish. It does not make you energetic and happy. That's a lie. Amy Elizabeth says, hi, Colin. Colin says, I saw her talking to another guy and share our texts. Well, maybe she just has a friend. Was the guy banging her while she was talking to him? Otherwise, she was just talking to somebody. Amy says, oh, no, Colin, sorry, man. Amy says, LOL, I mentioned Colin the other day, asked where he was. Yep, it's been a while since we've seen you, buddy. He says, I don't really care about her anymore. I hear you, buddy. Well, you got your whole life ahead of you. Fab Daddy says, smart. Colin says, I've been at school, work, etc. Right on. Me too. Amy says, herbalists. Yes. The word I was looking for was apothecary. It took me a minute to pull it up. Batshit says, homeopathic stuff virtually discredited, nearly useless, a.k.a. Cultured yogurts. Oh, yeah. The word cultured in yogurt means it has bacteria in it. Yogurt has bacteria in it because it's unpasteurized milk. Anyway, Fat Daddy says most drugs come from plants. Yeah. By come from, you mean derived of, which means they are distilled and then added chemicals to them to make them drugs. Batshit Crazy says, we got raw honey. That's good for you, always. I think that's honey. Anytime you have local honey, it's good for your immune system. Yep. We got raw honey and wild meat. Oftentimes, also, vegetables. Kinda. I hear you. Aluminum, mostly toxic. Yes, aluminum is not good for you at all. It causes a bevy of problems, including Alzheimer's. That's why I recommend not using aluminum pans. Either go stainless steel or cast iron. Do not use aluminum frying pans or anything you cook with. Amy says, speaking of waste, I got to pee. Be right back. Right on. Me too. I got to go. Colin says, I got high cholesterol. I found out. Well, you're too young to have high cholesterol, Colin. Phil says, well said, as you're coughing. Oh, yeah. I didn't say I was a saint. Just because I know things don't mean I followed the plan. Batshit Crazy says, fun fact, actual matter, largely cholesterol. Yes. You need cholesterol and you need carbohydrates to make your brain work. In other words, vegetarians didn't build the pyramids. Fab Daddy says, 2 and 5, good peeps. See you on the interwebs. Later, Fab Daddy. Have a good night, buddy. I'm not far behind you. Amanda says, night, Fab. John says, okay, everybody. See you next time. Bless you all. Wonderful. All you wonderful people. John, please get better. Get out of that hospital and get back to work, buddy. You got some doing to do. Amanda says, good night, John. Get better soon. Batshit Crazy says, water content percentage is difference. Lean muscle, blood, 13%. Right on. Yeah, your body is about 60 to 75% water, right? So that's the largest part of what you are. The rest of what you are is minerals, fats, and meat. And all of that is operated from a control center that is made out of peanut butter. If you don't believe that, go stick your finger in a brain and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's largely fat and cholesterol. And it has no moving parts and no wires, no conductive surfaces, and yet it has enough power that you can measure it from outside the skull with a meter if you know what you're looking for. And it powers this body. How does it do that? Well, it does that because it absorbs the environment, and then it turns that environment into fuels that it can then use to power the body. That system operates all by itself without having been designed by a single human being, meaning that a single human being adding things to that system is kind of silly. That would be like you going to a power plant and saying, I think I can make the plant better. Here's a pair of pliers. Let me get to work. That's not going to work out well in your favor. So it doesn't work out well when we put stuff in our bodies that doesn't belong there. That's all I'm saying. And yes, I am a practitioner of putting bad things in my body. I am not a saint. I do, however, have the benefit of hindsight, and I am aware of the mistakes I've made, which I now impart to you, free of charge, might I add, how not to do what I've done and be what I am, as I go coughing and smoking. My mama said, do what I say, not what I do. To which I responded, practice what you preach. John says, thank you, Amanda Hart. Amy says, high fructose corn syrup. I prefer real sugar. Amen. That is the worst thing put in the market in the last 100 years is high fructose corn syrup. It is really, anything corn-based is bad for you other than corn itself, which probably isn't very good for you. Corn, interestingly enough, is not a real plant. It is manufactured by men. Back in the old day, corn was this big and grew like grass. So they mixed it with something and made maize, and maize turned into corn over years of crossbreeding. Now they've got several different varieties of corn, which did not come from creation. It came from innovation, which is why it's not good for you. That being said, I love me some corn. Amanda says, you're welcome, John. Colin says, I'm at McDonald's right now. Rock on with your bad self with your high blood pressure. My light breakfast is like 2 or 3 pancakes and eggs with bacon. Well, yeah, that's going to hurt you. Amy says, I miss my chickens. Eggs so fresh, the yolks are almost orange. Yes. The eggs you buy in stores are not fresh, nor are they good for you because they don't have any of the good stuff that real chickens provide. They came from chickens that are sitting in boxes having food crammed down their mouth until they're so fat and pumped full of steroids. That's not good for you. You want eggs, get chickens. Or find somebody who has chickens and buy their eggs. They'll sell them to you, I promise. It's like drug addicts. Batshit Crazy says, amalgam, like mercury fillings. 99.9% safe. Amalgam. I don't know what that is. I know what mercury fillings are. They are not good for you. That's the reason so many people came up with Parkinson's disease, because of having metals in their bodies. That is a conspiracy theory, but that's what they say. Patty says, thank you, Amanda, Jake, and chat friends. It was fun texting again after a hard week in the hospital. Good night, all. Keep your head up. Colin, prayers and peace. Patty, thank you, and God bless you, and good night to you, too. And glad to be back. Bill Bennett says, good night, guys. Hope to see you all at Bible study. Thank you, Jake. You the man. Thank you, Bill, and you will see me at Bible study Sunday night. Colin says, but aluminum is money. Money for scrap. Yes, it is. Don't eat it, though. Patty says, get well, John. Prayers. And Amanda says, you're welcome, Patty. Good night. And Patty, you get well, too. Thank you for being here. And tell us if you're in the hospital next time. We didn't know. Batshit says C.H. Cooper, too. Right on. C.H. Copper, too. Right on. Colin says, well, I took a blood test and they found high cholesterol. Well, you're eating the wrong stuff then. You're, 12, 13, 14 years old? You shouldn't have high cholesterol or anything else. Batshit says sodium, potassium, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, 99% of the human body. Not ranked, though. Well, all of those things are present in your body naturally, but when you go adding the stuff to it that we eat, like salt, like table salt, for example, table salt is not good for you. The body doesn't know what to do with it. It just causes problems. Because the sodium that's in your body is not the sodium that's in your table salt. It's a different thing. Amy says some varieties of corn makes plastics and fuel. Yes, corn is used for a lot of things. And also oil is used for a lot of things. Petroleum is used for a lot of things. You'd be surprised what all that stuff is in. Amy says, oh, I've got an egg guy. Smiley face. I bet you do have an egg man. Egg man. That's a John Waters cut right there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know movies. Amy says, have a good night, y'all. Make good decisions and you'll have good consequences. Very good, sound, sage advice, Amy. Thank you. And Amanda says, good night, all. See you tomorrow night at 8:30 for Politics right here on Untethered Live. Amanda says, yeah, Jake, table salt is bad for you, LOL. I know, which is why I'm trying to cut back on it. Colin says, that's why I have high cholesterol. It's too much damn table salt. No, cholesterol doesn't come from salt. Cholesterol comes from eating fat. Amanda says, good night, Amy. Like the stuff you get at McDonald's will cause high cholesterol. Trans fats and all that stuff. It's not good for you. You need to eat real fat off of real animals that were not processed by a lot of steroids and antibacterials. What's the word I'm looking for? Vaccinations and whatever. Real animals. Go shoot a deer and eat that. You'll find it to be very lean and you'll have a lot of energy the next day. Colin says, good night, Amanda. And Amanda says, good night, Colin. All right, that's it. I made it to the bottom of the chat. Thank you all for being with me tonight. Good to be back. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for some politics. Have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for watching.